Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. On today's episode of RC Terminator, shocks. We're gonna build some shocks, and I'm gonna show you guys how I bleed all my air. I've seen some videos out there that are, I don't know, a little strange. They're saying a couple hours or whatever. I do them in 10-15 minutes. Now, check out this video, guys. Don't forget, if this is something you guys like, hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks, everybody. And here we go. Bag of shocks. Complete shocks, unopened. We're gonna go through and get these things built out. I wanna show you my way of air bleeding. I've been all over the internet, been finding a lot of different things, and I'm not real happy with some of them, but people like to do it that way. I'm going to show you my way. It beats waiting hour, 2, 3 hours. My way is they're done. As soon as you get done, close them up, you're done, you're ready to go back. So 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that's taking it apart, taking them down, cleaning them, re-oiling them, filling it up, closing them up, reassembling. I mean, it's pretty quick. So I'm going to show you, and we're going to get it started. All right, let's get into this bag. The shock oil. Take that to the side over here. We don't need that right now. About the bag. Got all the little caps, aluminum body shocks, shock caps. Got everything laid out here for you. Oh, I forgot a cap. There it is. Shock spacers. Okay. End caps. Springs. Little baggie. It's got a bunch of little parts in it, so we got to be extra careful when we build shocks. We don't want to lose anything. You see there's a whole bunch of little stuff here. Trying to get everything over so you guys can see everything. Actually, what goes into shock building. If you guys haven't done one already. Bunch of little O-rings, little plastic spacers, O-rings, a couple different size O-rings, so we got to separate the O-rings. Pistons, more O-rings, and some smaller O-rings. I'm missing one O-ring. I got 3 of those. All right. Let's go ahead and get started here. All right, here we go. First things first, blue cap. Now, on this particular shock, there's 2 different of these. One of them's got a sleeve on it, and the other one does not. Sleeve goes down. Make sure you get it nice and straight. It can be a burger sometimes. But patience is the best thing I can say. You'll know when you get it because you can see in there and it'll be nice and flat. Orange O-ring, gonna be 2 of these. One orange O-ring, then the other black spacer, which there is no lip on this one at all. Perfectly flat. So that one goes in. I use it to push the other O-ring down. Another orange O-ring. Push that O-ring down. Here we go. As simple as that. So 2 O-rings, 2 plastics. Don't need that shaft no more. Small O-ring. Goes around the outside. It's got its own little groove where it rides at. Pretty simple there. Then we go with the cap. This is the lower cap for the shaft. This holds everything together. Remember, this cap is plastic, so don't over tighten it because shock body's aluminum. This is plastic, so this is going to break. Now that part's done. Next part, piston, shock shaft. And here is the pain in the caboose parts. Those E-clips, C-clips, whatever you want to call them. I call them see you later clips because if you mess up, they're gonna fly completely away. So be extra careful when you guys do this. Make sure you have spares laying around just in case you lose one. They make a tool for actually this. I found needle nose pliers work pretty good. Just push it on, locks in. It's got 2 grooves on the shaft, so you got to use 2 of them. So one on the bottom and one's going to be on the top. We take our piston and get our piston pushed right on the shock shaft, and then that next clip is the hardest clip because where they put it at is so tight. They give you 0 room for error on this top one. You gotta be extra careful not to lose this one. This is the one you'll lose. There we go. I got lucky. There's with it installed. See the clip right there. And the bottom one's got a clip on it as well. There it is. Trying to get it to where to come in focus for you. So that'll keep the piston from falling off. Now we're ready to install the piston into the shock. So what I do is I can lubricate my O-rings. I'll give it a drop or 2 of this right in the center. That's probably more than enough. So I get it down in there around the O-ring. So at least I'm not doing a dry slide in. Nothing worse than a dry O-ring. In it. Nice and smooth. Alright, next one, we're going to put our end cap on for our shock. This one I do a little different than some people, but I don't know. I use my needle nose and grab right down by the threads because it ain't gonna ride through there through the O-ring on that part. You don't ever bottom the shock all the way out like that. Most of them you don't. Very few vehicles will. But these shocks aren't for a jumper, so you'll never see that. It's going to be a little stiff because new threads, never been made threads on. I just get it where the threads disappear. And they're just about all the way gone. Now we got ourselves a put together shock. Now, here's what I do differently than everybody else. Now, go ahead and put that O-ring on there so you don't forget it. I'll push the shock about yay far. You see it's almost to the top, as you see. You already see there's some in there for me when I put it in there to lube up the O-ring. I'll start putting some in you see, started putting it in. Get a little bit more in there. There we go. See, it's nice and full. Then I start pulling. See the bubbles? I'm actually pushing the air out and sucking the fluid down at the bottom. That's what I do differently. Everybody else would just fill it up and let it settle. See all the bubbles? I'll do this all the way down. Just a little bit at a time. I'll fill it back up and then go again. See the bubbles again? Pushed all the way down. As you see, the shaft is all the way down now. I'll go ahead and fill this back up because I don't want to introduce air back into the system. And then I'll operate the shock a few times. See how you see zero air now? You see no air coming through there. None. I got all the air out. If there is, it's a couple little dots, which I think I see a couple little dots. So I'll work this a couple times. Okay. Make sure it's filled to the top, and I'll put the cap on her. Same thing. Plastic at the top, aluminum case. You don't want to go crazy. I'll just get it snug. And then I'll work this shock a few times like this. Make sure all the air is through it. If my shock's not doing what I like it to do, I like it to drop back down. See? Air. That's why I wanted to work it like that. New shocks that's never had oil in them, yeah, it's going to do this. You got cavities that hold oil from the other ones. I'll go ahead and top it off the rest of the way. Again. See, now I've got air in it. It's a little stiff. See? But that's what I want. I want it to come back out some. I just got a little stiff. Maybe I put a little too much oil in there. It drained just a touch out of it. Which, that's okay. We can drain it back into the bucket. Still good oil. Still new. It's probably more than enough. Don't need much. Only takes a drop or two to cause your problem. See? Comes back out, just what I wanted. Sounds like it got introduced a little air into it again. Yeah, it might have taken too much out. Yeah, took a little too much out, got air in it. It is a messy job. Give it just a little drop. Probably all it needs. Doesn't need much because I don't want to make it where the shock doesn't work again. And this is what happens when you have them right. See how the shock drops? I get half a drop back on the shaft. That's what I want. That means I've got good resistance, got all the air out of it. I want a little bounce back. So that's perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and get this spring put on. And there's a shock. Perfectly good shock. Ready to go in the truck. All nice and cleaned up, ready to rock and roll, new fluids. I'd recommend, if you got a basher or something, I'd recommend doing this at least once a year if you're jumping a lot. Maybe a little bit more, depending on how much you're actually going. The fluid does break down, gets black. Did one video of a pretty black looking fluid, but my recommendation is probably at least once a year. We're gonna get to the Arrma shock here shortly and do those. I'm about a year into those already, and I've bashed the heck out of that one, so we're gonna go ahead and do that one at some point. But I'm gonna get the rest of these shocks built up and I'll be right back with you guys. I don't know, everybody, what do you think? Do you think that's an easier way to do shocks? I think so. That's the easiest way I have found to do it, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Like I said, it should only take 10-15 minutes. But on this video, we did a complete build on a shock. So it takes a little bit longer because you're doing O-rings, you're doing shafts, you're doing everything. But oiling, getting the air out of the shocks is basically the same way. And you see what you guys end up with. Perfectly good shocks. I mean, they're brand new, ready to rock and roll. They're all nice, perfect, no air at all. I mean, that's a nice shock right there, guys. And I hope you guys like it. Don't forget, if you guys haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget the notification bell right next to it as well. Don't forget the thumbs up if you guys like this video. Until next time on RC Terminator. We'll catch you next time, guys.